Okay, let's jump right into this. We are currently witnessing a genuinely terrifying anomaly, and it goes against pretty much everything we thought we knew about cardiovascular health. We're talking about athletes, office workers, gym lovers, people right in the prime of their lives, in their 20s and 30s, who are suddenly just collapsing. And the thing is, these aren't people with long, complicated medical histories. They're people exactly like you and me, just going about a totally normal Tuesday until suddenly their hearts just stop.
So, we really have to ask ourselves, why are young hearts suddenly failing? We've got to take a hard look at what's happening to our bodies and ask if our modern everyday lifestyle is actually secretly destroying us from the inside out. For decades, the medical world treated heart disease as, just an inevitability of getting old. But that data is shifting right under our feet right now, and the trend is undeniably alarming.
And this really gets to the crux of the whole mystery. Perfectly healthy young adults in their 20s and 30s are suddenly collapsing from heart attacks. Honestly, the scariest part? Many of these seemingly healthy folks never saw it coming. Zero obvious red flags. They felt fine, they looked great, but deep down inside, a silent crisis was rapidly reaching a boiling point.
To figure out what's really going on here, let's run through the agenda for this explainer. We're going to cover 1. The young heart crisis, 2. The biology of a blockage, 3. Surviving in chronic stress, 4. Modern addictions, 5. The ignored alarms, and 6. How to protect your heart. Let's get to it.
Starting off with Section 1, the young heart crisis, a modern medical mystery. Like we mentioned, for generations, heart attacks were just heavily associated with older adults. But today, hospitals all over the world are admitting staggering numbers of young people who are dropping at work, mid-workout, or incredibly, even while they're fast asleep.
What's really wild is the contrast here between the outside appearance and the inside reality. On the outside, these individuals look young, active, and perfectly healthy. But on the inside, modern lifestyles are accelerating this silent decay. We're talking unseen plaque buildup and chronic inflammation that's taking root literally decades earlier than it's supposed to. It's proof that you absolutely cannot judge a book by its cover when it comes to your heart.
Which brings us to Section 2, biology of a blockage, understanding the mechanism. To really solve this mystery, we first need to get a handle on the basic biology of what actually breaks down inside the chest when a young heart fails. Think of it like human plumbing. A heart attack happens when blood flow to the heart gets completely blocked. Usually this is because of a slow buildup of fat, cholesterol, and inflammation inside your arteries. When that blockage finally hits, oxygen just can't reach the heart muscle anymore, and parts of the heart actually begin to die. The truly crucial point here is that if this blockage delays oxygen for too long, that damage is permanent and very often fatal.
So what's triggering these blockages so early in life? That brings us to Section 3, surviving in chronic stress, the silent killer. One of the absolute biggest culprits driving this crisis is the non-stop pressure of modern daily life. Think about it. Endless deadlines, financial stress, that relentless 24/7 social media comparison loop. We are basically living in a pressure cooker.
Let's walk through the step-by-step biological cascade because our brains were definitely not built for this. When you're chronically stressed, your body dumps hormones like cortisol and adrenaline into your system. That spikes your heart rate and blood pressure. Over time, that constant high pressure literally damages your blood vessels and cranks up systemic inflammation throughout your whole body. It forces your heart to work overtime, driving up the exact kind of deadly inflammation that causes those blockages.
And look, to deal with all that overwhelming stress, a lot of people turn to what seem like normal coping mechanisms. Grabbing junk food, smoking, having a few drinks, chugging energy drinks to stay awake, or just zoning out with late-night screen time. But biologically, these habits are forcing the body into a really damaging survival mode. By leaning on these quick fixes, people are unknowingly wearing down their cardiovascular system every single day. This baseline survival mode gets exponentially worse when we look at Section 4, modern addictions and diet, the accelerants. Because beyond just regular stress, there are specific modern habits, often heavily marketed straight to younger crowds, that act like pouring gasoline on a fire for early heart disease.
This is where things get really dangerous. Young people today are frequently stacking these toxic combinations, taking potent pre-workout supplements, slamming high-caffeine energy drinks, vaping nicotine, and then jumping straight into a heavy, intense workout. When you stack high stimulants, vaping chemicals that trigger massive oxidative stress and intense physical strain, you are putting enormous, sometimes deadly pressure on your heart.
It is the perfect recipe for an irregular rhythm.
I really want you to let this quote sink in. Sleep is not a luxury. It is a biological necessity. We kind of have a bad habit of wearing our lack of sleep like a badge of honor in today's hustle culture. But that late-night scrolling and binge-watching, it's actively destroying the critical repair cycles your heart desperately needs to recover from the day.
6 hours. That number is a massive red flag. Millions of young adults are getting less than 6 hours of sleep a night. And when your sleep is cut short, your body just can't repair itself. That chronic lack of sleep spikes your stress hormones, jacks up your blood pressure, and shoots your obesity risk way up, all of which absolutely hammer the heart. And of course, we have to talk about food. A modern fast food diet loaded with excess salt, bad fats, and refined sugar has a direct biological impact, driving up obesity and high cholesterol. The ultimate risk here? Diabetes. Diabetes is basically a direct pipeline to dangerous plaque buildup, and it's one of the strongest predictors for heart disease out there, years before symptoms even show up.
Because this silent damage starts so early, we need to move to Section 5, the ignored alarms, recognizing the warning signs. A heart usually doesn't just fail out of nowhere. It actually sends out distress signals days, weeks, or even months in advance. The tragic part is just that we aren't listening to them.
Honestly, this right here is the most dangerous mindset you can possibly have. I'm too young for heart problems. This exact assumption causes people to brush off the blaring physical alarms their bodies are ringing. We just assume that because we're in our 20s or 30s, we're basically invincible. But the data proves we really aren't. Please pay super close attention to these critical symptoms: chest pain or tightness, unusual shortness of breath, dizzy spells, unexplainable extreme fatigue, a fluttering rapid heartbeat, pain that spreads to your arm, jaw, or back, and sudden cold sweating or nausea. If you experience these, especially if you vape, have high stress, or have a family history, you have to seek medical help immediately. Do not just brush it off as anxiety or a pulled muscle.
Okay, time for some empowering news. Let's look at Section 6, How to Protect Your Heart, the Antidote. Despite how grim all of this sounds, this entire trend is highly preventable if we take action right now. We absolutely have the power to turn this around.
Making simple, everyday lifestyle changes can dramatically reverse that silent damage. We're talking 7 to 8 hours of real sleep, actively managing your stress, maybe unplugging for a bit, getting regular exercise, even if it's just a brisk daily walk to improve circulation, eating more whole foods, stopping the smoking and the vaping entirely, and please, limiting those intense energy drinks. They seem like small steps, but they lead to a massive drop in your overall risk. So the single most crucial point to take away from this entire explainer is this: being young does not make you invincible. Your health truly is your greatest wealth. Your heart is working relentlessly every single second of your life without you ever having to ask it to beat. You just can't take its resilience for granted.
I'm going to leave you with this final thought to chew on this week. Will you listen to your body before it's too late? Take a really honest look at your own daily habits, those hidden stressors, the toxic combos you might be stacking, and the unseen health of your heart. Scheduling a quick medical checkup today, or honestly, even just deciding to pour that energy drink down the sink, could prevent a massive tragedy tomorrow. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer, and please, take care of yourselves out there.